It was a cold night in the city. The sky was dark, filled with thick clouds. The streetlights flickered, and light rain touched the ground like soft whispers. People hurried to reach home, coats tight and heads down. But one man walked slowly. His name was Ravi. He had just finished his late shift at the metal factory. His hands were rough from hard work, and his shoulders ached. His lunchbox was empty, and his boots were old. Still, he walked with a calm face. He reached the bus stop near Sector 12. The city was quiet now. Only a few cars passed by. The wind was cold, sharper than usual. Ravi pulled his old brown jacket tighter and sat on the bench, waiting for the last bus home. Then he noticed her. A woman stood near the edge of the bus stop. She had no umbrella, no coat. Her hands were wrapped around her arms, trying to stay warm. Her hair was wet from the rain, and her shoes were muddy. She didn't look at anyone, only stared at the road ahead. Ravi looked around. No one else seemed to care. A couple nearby kept talking. A man across the street just walked past. Ravi's eyes returned to the woman. Something in her eyes made him pause. She looked tired, more than just cold. He stood up slowly and walked over. "Excuse me," he said kindly. "You're cold. Please take this." He took off his jacket and held it out to her. The woman looked surprised. "I can't take your coat," she said quietly, her voice almost lost in the wind. "You need it more than I do," Ravi said. "Don't worry, I'm used to the cold." The woman looked into his eyes for a moment. She saw no lies there, only a simple offer. She took the jacket with both hands and held it close. "Thank you," she said, softly. Ravi smiled. "No problem. The bus should come soon." He stepped back and stood under the shelter. The rain got heavier, but he didn't move. His shirt got wet, but he didn't mind. The cold touched his skin, but he stayed still. The woman watched him for a moment. She wanted to ask his name, but something held her back. She just kept the jacket around her and stood quietly. 5 minutes later, the bus came. It opened with a hiss, and people climbed in. Ravi waited, letting others go first. When the woman stepped on, she turned and looked back. Ravi gave a small wave and a smile. She nodded and disappeared inside. The bus drove away. Ravi stood alone now, the rain still falling. His shirt stuck to his back, but he didn't regret it. He turned and began to walk. There would be no more buses tonight, but he didn't mind walking home. As he walked past silent shops and empty roads, he thought of the woman. He didn't know who she was, but something about her felt different. Not just lost or cold, but heavy, like she carried a lot in her heart. But he didn't ask questions. Some people just need kindness, not words. Far away, inside the bus, the woman sat near the back. She held the jacket close, feeling its warmth. It smelled of oil and smoke, factory air, but also of safety. She looked out the window at the dark city. Her name was Mira, and she was not just any woman. Mira was the CEO of Varian Dynamics, the largest tech company on Earth. She had spent her evening in a private meeting with off-world leaders. Talks had failed. Her guards had lost her in the crowd. She chose to walk the last block herself, but the rain started. Then she found herself alone. She didn't want to call her team. She didn't want bodyguards or flying cars. For once, she wanted to feel like a normal person again. And now, a stranger had offered her warmth without asking who she was. Without asking anything at all, Mira looked down at the old brown jacket. A small tear near the sleeve. A faded tag inside that said, "Property of Ravi." She smiled. In a world full of people chasing power, this man had given without thinking twice. She pulled the jacket tighter and whispered, "Thank you, Ravi." She didn't know it yet, but this simple moment would change everything. The next morning, Ravi woke up early. His small room was quiet. The floor was cold, and his blanket was thin. He didn't mind. This was normal for him. He made a cup of tea, packed his lunch, and got ready for work. As he opened the door to leave, he looked at the empty hook on the wall. His jacket wasn't there. Then he remembered. The woman from last night. He smiled. "Hope she stayed warm," he said softly. Ravi didn't expect anything back. He never gave for reward. He just did what felt right. That was how his parents had raised him. Help when you can, even if you don't have much. He walked to the factory through the quiet streets. Tall buildings surrounded him. Hovercars flew above, but people like him walked below. No one noticed him. He was just one of many workers, wearing old clothes, hands rough from machines. At the factory, the machines roared. Metal pieces moved, sparks flew, and people shouted over the noise. Ravi worked at Station 7. He shaped metal sheets for cargo ships. It was hard work, but he was proud of it. By noon, he wiped sweat from his face and sat for lunch. His friend, Tomo, a short man with clever eyes, sat beside him. "Cold last night," Tomo said, chewing on bread. Ravi nodded. "Gave my jacket to someone." Tomo raised an eyebrow. "To who?" "Just a woman. She was freezing at the bus stop." "You gave your only jacket?" Tomo said with surprise. "She needed it more." Tomo shook his head and smiled. "You're a strange guy, Ravi, but a good one." Ravi laughed. "Maybe just cold and kind." They both laughed quietly. Then the siren blew, and the workers returned to their stations not far above the city. In a tall glass tower, Mira sat in her private office at Virion Dynamics. The room was large and quiet, with smooth white walls and soft lights. Screens floated in the air, showing reports, numbers, and star maps. But Mira wasn't looking at them. She was looking at the brown jacket. It was folded neatly on her desk. Her fingers touched the worn fabric. It was simple, old, but it meant something. It reminded her of the streets she had forgotten, the people she rarely saw anymore. Her assistant leaned, knocked gently, and entered. "Mira, the board is ready for the meeting," Lean said. "I'll be there in 5 minutes," Mira replied. Still looking at the jacket, Lean paused. "That's not yours, is it?" "No," Mira said, with a soft smile. "It belongs to someone better." Lean didn't ask more. She knew Mira well enough to understand when not to speak. When Mira entered the meeting room, the board members stood. There were 12 of them, all dressed in perfect suits, eyes sharp, voices trained. They greeted her with respectful nods. "Let's begin," she said. The screen lit up, showing a map of the solar system. Red dots appeared near Mars, showing ship movements. "Our talks with the Martian Union failed," Mira said. "They want control of the asteroid belt routes. If we give them that, they control half of Earth's space trade." A man named Corrine, head of security, spoke. "Are we preparing for conflict?" "Yes," Mira answered. "But we'll do it differently. No war machines yet. First, we need people who understand what's worth protecting." The board looked confused. "We've focused too much on numbers," Mira said. "We've forgotten the people on the ground. The ones who make this company real. Engineers, workers, those who give without asking for anything." The room was silent. "We're starting a new program," she continued. "A human values research team. I want fresh minds, not just those with degrees. I want people who remember kindness." The next day, Ravi received a letter. Not on paper, but through his work terminal. It was strange. He had never received messages from outside the factory. The message said, "You are invited to an interview at Virion Dynamics headquarters. Position, Research Assistant, Special Projects Division. Time, tomorrow, 10 a.m. transport. Will be arranged." Ravi stared at the screen. Is this a joke? He asked himself. He had never applied for such a job. He didn't even know what special projects meant. He asked his manager, but even he didn't understand it. "You should go," Tomo said. "Maybe someone saw your work." Ravi nodded. Slowly, maybe. The next day, A sleek black car waited outside Ravi's small apartment. The driver opened the door without a word. Ravi climbed in, wearing his cleanest shirt and a nervous smile. As the car rose into the sky, he looked down. At the city. The tall tower of Virion Dynamics came into view, shining like a needle of glass. Inside, everything was quiet, smooth, and bright. A kind receptionist led him to a room on the 49th floor. The door opened, and Ravi stepped inside. To his shock, Mira stood there. She wore a clean blue coat, hair tied back, face calm. But her eyes lit up when she saw him. "You," Ravi said, surprised. "The bus stop." Mira smiled. "Yes, and you're the man who gave me his only jacket." Ravi looked confused. "But you're—" "I'm Mira," she said simply. "CEO of this company. But that night, I was just a woman in the rain, and you helped me without asking who I was." Ravi said nothing. He didn't know what to say. "I didn't forget it," Mira continued. "And now I want people like you in my team. People who act with heart." She held out her hand. "Will you work with us, Ravi?" Ravi looked at her hand, then at her face. He didn't understand the full picture. But he knew one thing: this was something important. He shook her hand. "Yes," he said. Ravi stood in the bright office, still holding Mira's hand. Everything felt like a dream. Just 3 days ago, he was working in a noisy factory. Now he was face to face with one of the most powerful people on earth. Mira let go of his hand and pointed to a chair. "Please, sit." Ravi sat carefully, unsure if he should speak. Mira sat across from him, her eyes calm but sharp. "I know this must be strange for you," she said. Ravi nodded slowly. "Yes, I don't understand why I'm here." Mira leaned forward slightly. "That night at the bus stop, you helped someone who looked lost, cold, and tired. You didn't ask who I was. You didn't expect anything. You simply gave." Ravi stayed quiet. He wasn't used to praise. "I've met many people," Mira continued, "but kindness without pride is rare. That's why I invited you here. I believe your heart is needed." "But I'm not a scientist," Ravi said softly. "I don't know much about space or machines like you do," Mira smiled. "That's exactly why I chose you." She stood up and walked to the window. The city below looked like a glowing map. Hovercars moved like fireflies in the sky. "Virion Dynamics is facing something big, something dangerous," she said. "There are groups, powerful ones, not from Earth. They want control of our space. They want to decide who can grow and who must stay behind." Ravi stood up too slowly. "Are you talking about aliens?" Mira nodded. "Not the kind from movies. These are corporations based on Mars and the moons. They have machines smarter than ours, weapons faster than ours, and they don't care about people, only control." Ravi frowned. "So why me?" "Because we need a team," Mira said. "Not just of smart minds, but of strong hearts. People who won't forget what we're fighting for." She turned to him. "We're starting a special project. It's secret, not in public files. I want you to be part of it." Ravi's voice was quiet, "But I'm just me." Mira walked closer and handed him something. It was the jacket. "I kept it safe," she said. "It reminded me of what matters. I want this jacket to return to you. But I also want you to walk into something bigger with that same heart." Ravi held the jacket. It was dry now, neatly folded. But it still smelled faintly of smoke and cold rain. He nodded slowly. "I'll do my best," Mira smiled. "That's all I ask." The next morning, Ravi arrived at the Special Projects Wing. It was hidden beneath the main tower, behind locked doors and fingerprint scans. A young woman named Rena greeted him. She was short, serious, and carried a tablet in one hand. "You're Ravi," she said. "Follow me." She didn't talk much, but her steps were fast. They passed glass halls with glowing screens. People worked quietly on strange machines, maps of planets, and models of STA, RSHIPS. Ravi felt out of place. I don't belong here, he whispered. Rena looked back. Myra chose you. That means you belong. She led him to a small room with 6 other people inside. All of them looked different. One man was tall and bald. A woman wore a lab coat. Another person wore dirty overalls, like he had come straight from the soil. This is the team, Rena said. Each of you was chosen for something more than skill. They all looked at Ravi. He gave a small smile. The man with the overalls nodded back. Rena began the meeting. Let me be clear, she said. Mars Tech Corp has begun tests of a new stealth weapon. If they finish it, they can strike Earth's orbit and shut down our satellites in seconds. Everyone grew serious. But we have something they don't, Rena said. We have people who believe in protecting others. People. Like you. She looked at Ravi. You'll start with basic tech training. You'll work with data, patterns, reports. But more than that, we want your view, your thoughts, your instincts. Ravi blinked. My thoughts? Why would those matter? Rena smiled, just a little. Because heart matters more than cold numbers. Days passed quickly. Ravi learned to use high-tech screens. He studied space maps, sensor codes, even alien radio signals. It wasn't easy. But every time he wanted to give up, he remembered Mira's words, and that night at the bus stop, he wasn't just a helper now. He was part of something bigger. One night, he stayed late in the lab, looking at movement data from satellites near Mars. As he compared paths, he noticed something strange. 3 ships had passed through a field that should have shown their heat signals. But there was nothing. He called Rena. I think I found something hidden. Rena rushed to his station. She looked at the numbers. Then at Ravi. This could be it, she said. The stealth system. You found the pattern. She tapped on her tablet, sending the data to Mira directly. Ravi watched as the screen blinked. He had never felt this kind of nervous energy before. You just helped Earth more than you know, Rena whispered. The next day, Mira came to the lab. She walked straight to Ravi. You found the flaw in their stealth, she said. You did what many trained minds missed. Ravi shook his head. I was just looking, Mira smiled. That's exactly why I chose you. She turned to the whole team. Thanks to Ravi, we have a chance to stop something dangerous before it begins. Ravi's face turned red, but inside he felt proud. Not because of praise, but because his small effort had become something meaningful. From a bus stop to a hidden lab, his journey had taken a path he never imagined, and it was only beginning. The sun had not yet risen, but the city was already awake. Flying cars moved between tall towers, and soft lights glowed in the streets below. Inside the Virion Dynamics headquarters, deep in the Special Projects wing, Ravi stood with his new team in a large briefing room. The room was round, with a giant screen in the center. Blue light touched the walls, and soft hums came from hidden machines. Mira stood in front of the screen, dressed in a dark coat. Her eyes were focused and serious. Thank you all for coming early, Mira said. What I am about to tell you will not leave this room. Ravi stood beside Rena, holding a small data pad. His hands were a little sweaty. It had only been 2 weeks since he joined the project, but so much had already changed. He still felt like a factory worker inside, but everyone here treated him like part of the team. Mira tapped her hand on the screen. A map of space appeared. It showed Earth, the Moon, Mars, and several small stations floating between them. This is where we are now, she began. Mars Tech Corp has been moving ships with stealth systems. Thanks to Ravi's discovery, we know how they are hiding. But there's more. She zoomed in on a small dot near the asteroid belt. This is Station V9, one of our listening posts. It stopped sending signals 2 nights ago. No damage reported. No warning. The room grew quiet. Ravi leaned closer. You think Mars Tech did something? Mira nodded. Yes, we believe they are testing a new weapon, something that can erase systems without a trace. We must find out what happened at Station V9 before they do it again. Rena stepped forward. She held a small case and opened it. Inside was a thin badge with a glowing chip. These are your clearance badges, Rena said. You'll be joining the recon crew to V9. Your mission is to recover any data, find survivors, and stop any hidden systems before Mars Tech returns. Ravi looked surprised. You want me to go into space? Yes, Mira said firmly. We need eyes we can trust. People who don't just follow rules, but care about what's right. That's why I want you there. Ravi swallowed hard. He had never left Earth before. Never even been on a space shuttle. But he saw the same thing in Mira's eyes he saw that night in the Rain Truth. I'll go, he said. 3 days later, Ravi stood on the loading platform of the Sparrow, a small but strong ship built for fast missions. He wore a silver suit with blue stripes, and his badge glowed at his chest. Rena stood beside him, checking gear. You look nervous, she said. I've never left the ground before, Ravi admitted. I don't even know if I get space sick, Rena smiled slightly. Just don't eat too much before takeoff. The pilot, a quiet man named Daru, called over the speaker. All crew, prepare for launch. The engines hummed, and the platform shook. Slowly, the Sparrow lifted off. The city became smaller below, then disappeared into clouds. Moments later, they passed into orbit. Ravi stared out the window, eyes wide. Earth looked beautiful from above. Blue and white, spinning slowly. In space, it's real, he whispered. Rena nodded. And it's worth protecting. The journey to Station V9 took 10 hours. During that time, Ravi read reports, checked maps, and tried to learn how the station worked. It was mostly quiet, except for system alerts and soft engine sounds. They reached the station. It looked peaceful. Too peaceful. The large ring-shaped structure floated in space. Lights off, no movement. The docking doors were open. That's not normal, Daru said. Docking systems should be locked, Rena frowned. Let's move in. The Sparrow connected to the side port, and the crew entered the station. Inside, everything was dark. Emergency lights blinked red. The walls were covered with dust, like no one had moved for days. Ravi looked around. Where is everyone? No one answered. They moved room by room. The crew found signs of quick shutdowns. Open files, dropped. Tools, food left half-eaten, but no people. Not even one. This place was left in a hurry, Rena said. But there are no escape pod logs. Ravi checked the control room. One screen still glowed faintly. He tapped the surface, and a hidden file appeared. Look at this, he called. Rena and Daru rushed over. The file was a recording, time-stamped. From the day the station went silent. It showed the stars outside, then a sudden flash of light. Then dash nothing. Ravi fast-forwarded. The file ended in static. They were testing something, he said. Something that blocks energy, sound, and even memory. Rena looked serious. We have to get this back to Mira. They rushed back to the ship. But as they entered the Sparrow, a warning flashed across the pilot's screen. Unidentified vessel approaching. Daru turned pale. It's a Mars Tech drone ship. Armed. Rena moved fast. We have to leave now. The engine started, but the enemy ship fired a pulse. The Sparrow shook. We can't outrun it, Daru said. Ravi stared at the control screen. Wait, what if we use the station? Rena looked at him. What do you mean? The signal they used to block everything. We saw it in the file. If we copy it and send it out, maybe we can hide like they did. Daru blinked. That might work. Or burn our systems. It's our only chance, Ravi said. Rena nodded. Do it. Ravi quickly copied the pattern and loaded it into the Sparrow's systems. He hit the button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then everything went dark. The ship floated silently. Outside, the Mars tech drone passed by slow, scanning. Confused, then it turned and left. The crew let out a breath. "You did it," Rena said. "No," Ravi said. "We did." Back at Virion Dynamics headquarters, the main command room was busy. Screens showed space maps, communication logs, and ship movements. Everyone moved with focus. The Station V9 mission had given them a warning. Mars Tech was planning something. Bigger. Ravi stood beside Rena and Mira as they looked at the latest reports. "We now know the stealth weapon can shut down systems without destroying them," Rena said. "But the next version could do more. It could destroy satellites, defense shields, even ships." Mira looked calm, but her voice was firm. "If they use it, Earth will be blind. We will lose control of our space routes." Ravi stared at the screen. "Can we stop them?" "That's the goal," Mira replied. "But they just sent us a message." She turned on the main screen. A video appeared. A tall man in a dark silver suit stood in a large room with red banners behind him. His skin was pale, and his voice was cold. "I am Chief Elrex, Speaker of the Martian Tech Coalition," he said. "We offer Earth a final chance. Hand over all asteroid mining rights and space transport lanes, or face complete silence in your sky." The screen went black. Silence filled the room. "They're not joking," Rena whispered. Mira crossed her arms. "We won't surrender." She turned to Ravi. "This is more than a fight over space. It's a fight for our future. If they control our skies, they control our food, water, and energy." Ravi nodded. "So what's the plan?" Mira opened a digital file. "We will send a reply, but not just in words. In action." Later that night, Ravi sat in his small new apartment near the tower. It was simple, but better than his old place. He looked out the window at the stars. His mind was full of questions. He thought about the factory days. Life was tough but quiet. Now he was part of something dangerous, something big. He never asked for this, but he couldn't walk away now. There was a knock at the door. He opened it and found Mira standing there, holding 2 cups of tea. "Can I come in?" "Of course," Ravi said, surprised. They sat by the window, sipping tea. For a moment, there was silence. "You look tired," she said. "I am," Ravi replied. "But I can't stop thinking. What if we fail?" Mira looked at the stars. "That night at the bus stop, I was close to giving up. The peace talks had failed. The city felt cold. But then you gave your jacket, and for a moment, I remembered what we're fighting for." Ravi looked at her. "It was just a jacket." "No," she said, "it was hope. And right now, the world needs that again." She stood up and gave him something, a small box. "What's this?" Ravi asked. "Open it," she said with a smile. Inside was a badge. It had a star and a gear, joined by a line. "The symbol of the Earth Unity Command. You've been promoted," Mira said. "You'll sit in on the Defense Council meeting tomorrow. They need someone who speaks for the people, not just the generals." Ravi stared at the badge. "Me? In the council?" "You've earned it," she said. "And you're ready." The next day, Ravi entered a tall glass hall deep under the tower. Flags from all Earth nations hung from the walls. Around a large round table sat leaders, scientists, space generals, and advisors. Mira led Ravi to a seat beside her. A woman in uniform stood. "We all saw the Martian message. They expect us to surrender. But this council was built for unity, not fear." Another man, old and strict, spoke next. "We must prepare our strongest weapons. If we show weakness, we lose everything." Many agreed. Some looked unsure. Then Mira stood. "Before we choose war or peace, I want you to hear from someone new." She turned to Ravi. "Please speak." Ravi stood slowly. His hands shook a little, but his voice was clear. "I come from the ground factories. Streets, small rooms with cold floors. People there don't talk about stars. They talk about food, family, and making it to the next day. But they also know one thing: you protect what you love. He looked around the room. We don't want war. But we won't give up Earth's future to people who see us as numbers. If we must fight, let it be to protect, not to destroy. The room was silent. Then slowly, people began to nod. A general spoke. Then let us defend, with heart and strength. The council agreed to Myra's plan. It was not a full war. It was a defense strategy called Sky Shield. They would place signal jammers around Earth's orbit to stop the Martian stealth tech. It needed speed, teamwork, and precision. Ravi was placed in charge of ground coordination. He would speak with launch teams, engineers, and communication officers across the planet. His days became busy. He barely slept, but he worked with purpose. One evening, while checking signals, Ravi saw a blinking red light on his screen. It was a secret code from Myra. He opened the file. Mars tech is moving. 3 ships headed toward Earth's outer orbit. 2 days from arrival. Prepare the Sky Shield. Ravi's heart raced. He picked up his headset. All teams, report status. We have 2 days. Let's protect our home. 2 days later, the Earth sky lit up. Thousands of people looked up as bright lines moved across the star's satellites, shields, jammers. The Sky Shield activated. A blue net of light formed around the planet. From space, the Martian ships stopped. They tried to send stealth pulses. They failed. Mira stood at the command screen, watching it all. They can't get in, she said. Ravi smiled. We said no without firing a single shot. For now, Earth was safe, but everyone knew it was not the end. It was the beginning of something greater. The Earth was safe, at least for now. The Sky Shield worked. The Martian ships stayed at a distance. No attack came. People cheered. Leaders gave speeches. News channels called it a great victory. But Mira knew better. So did Ravi. Inside the control tower of Virion Dynamics, things were still busy. Scientists studied signals. Defense teams checked systems. The shield had worked, but Mars tech would not stop. They would try again. Ravi sat in his new office, going over the latest reports. He was tired, but he stayed focused. His job was no longer just about machines or signals. It was about people, making sure no one was forgotten. A small knock came. At the door. It was Mira. She entered quietly, holding something wrapped in cloth. Busy? She asked. Always. Ravi smiled. She sat across from him and placed the wrapped item on the table. I wanted to return something. Ravi looked at the cloth. Mira opened it slowly. It was the old brown jacket. His jacket. Ravi stared at it in silence. I kept it safe all this time, Mira said. It reminded me of something important. Ravi ran his hand over the fabric. It was still patched, still simple, but clean now. He smiled softly. That night, I never thought it would lead to all this, he said. Mira nodded. Neither did I, but that small act, giving your jacket, changed more than you know. She stood up and walked to the window. The Earth skyline was filled with light. Hovercars moved like stars, and people below lived their normal lives. After the Sky Shield went up, Mira said, I met with the Unity Council. They asked me why Earth didn't give up, why we fought without violence. She turned to Ravi. I showed them this jacket. Ravi blinked. You showed them this? Yes, she said. I told them this jacket was the reason I believe in humans, because someone with nothing gave everything he had just to help. Mira opened a small case. Inside was a folded flag, the new Earth Unity flag. It had 3 lines, one for strength, one for hope, and one for heart. The council voted, she said. They want this jacket to be part of the new Earth Unity Museum. A symbol of what it means to be human. Ravi's eyes widened. But I'm just a worker. No, Mira said gently. You're the reason we remembered who we are. This jacket is now more than cloth, it's history. Ravi looked at the jacket for a long time. Then he slowly folded it and placed it in the box. Let it help others, he said. Let them remember. A week later, people from across Earth gathered in the Unity Dome, a tall round building made of crystal and steel. Flags from every nation waved outside. Inside, leaders, students, workers, and even children stood around a large display dot. At the center was a glass case. Inside it, Ravi's brown jacket. Mira stepped onto the stage. Cameras flashed, lights glowed. She raised her hand to speak. Years ago, Earth was divided. We fought over land, power, and pride. But when danger came from the stars, we stood together. Not with weapons, but with something stronger, humanity. She paused and pointed to the jacket. This simple coat was given by a man who had little. He saw someone cold and helped her without asking who she was. That man is Ravi, and that woman was me. Gasps filled the hall. Mira smiled. That night changed me. It reminded me that leadership is not power, it's service. This jacket became my reminder, and now it will remind the world. The audience stood and clapped. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Others bowed their heads in respect. Ravi sat in the front row. He looked around, unsure of how to feel. But when Myra looked at him, he gave a small nod. He still didn't like attention, but he understood its purpose now. Later, Mira and Ravi walked outside together. The air was cool, and the stars above were clear. You didn't have to tell them it was you, Ravi said. I did, Myra replied. The world needs truth, and I needed to say thank you publicly. They stopped near the garden beside the Unity Dome. Lights danced on the trees. A soft song played in the distance. What's next? Ravi asked. Mira smiled. We prepare. For war? For peace, she said. But we stay ready. Mars tech will come back. Maybe with stronger weapons. But we'll meet them with stronger people. She turned to Ravi. I want you to lead the Earth Civilians Network. It will train workers, farmers, teachers, everyone to help protect and guide their communities. You'll lead them. You're one of them. Ravi was quiet. The idea felt big, heavy, but he understood why she asked. All right, he said. I'll do it. In the months that followed, Ravi traveled across Earth. He visited mining towns, sea cities, mountain villages, and desert stations. He spoke to people in simple words, just like he always had. He taught them how to stay safe, how to report strange signals, how to build together. But more than that, he listened. Everywhere he went, people asked about the jacket. Some had seen it on the news. Others had read about it in stories. To each one, Ravi said the same thing. It's not about the jacket. It's about doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Back at the museum, the jacket stayed under glass. School children visited every day. Guides told the story of the worker who gave warmth in the cold, of the CEO who remembered it, of the world that changed because of it. And above it, on the wall, were simple words. The earth was calm, but the stars were full of watchful eyes. Ravi stood on the roof of Varian Dynamics headquarters, looking up at the sky. The wind was cool, and the city lights stretched far below. It was hard to believe how much had changed in such a short time. A few months ago, he was a factory worker, struggling to make ends meet. Now he was part of something bigger, a movement that brought Earth together to protect itself and its people. Ravi's hand touched the small pin on his jacket, the Earth Unity symbol. It was a reminder of where he had come from and where he was going. Behind him, Mira walked up the stairs. She smiled as she joined him. You seem lost in thought, she said. Ravi turned and smiled back. Just thinking about everything. The jacket, the council, the people. Mira nodded. It all started with kindness, a simple act that sparked a change. Ravi looked up again. Do you think it will last, this unity? I believe it will, Myra said firmly. Because it is built on more than words. It is built on people like you, people who choose to help without asking why. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the stars. Suddenly, an alarm sounded in the building. The red light flashed. Myra's expression changed. She pulled out a small tablet. It's from the outer colonies, she said quickly. There is a signal. Unidentified ships approaching. Ravi felt his heart beat faster. Are we ready? He asked. We must be, Myra said. This is the test of our unity. Within minutes, the command room filled with people. Scientists, generals, engineers, and leaders gathered around glowing screens. Maps showed several ships entering the solar system. They are Martian tech ships, a general said. Armed and ready. Myra turned to the room. We will not attack first. We will protect ourselves and try to talk. But we must be ready for anything. Ravi stood beside her, ready to help coordinate. The ships moved closer. The Earth Unity satellites formed a strong shield. Signals bounced between stations, warning of any threats. Ravi watched the screens as the first ship reached Earth orbit. A message came from the Martian ships. We do not wish war. We come to talk. Myra breathed deeply and opened a secure channel. Earth is ready to listen, she said. For hours, the two sides talked. They spoke of space, resources, and the future. Differences were sharp, but both wanted peace. Ravi listened carefully. He thought about the jacket again, how kindness started the journey, and how hope could keep it going. After the talks, a new agreement was made. Mars Tech would share some mining rights, but only with Earth's permission. Both sides agreed to work together to protect space from outside threats. The Earth Unity Council celebrated the success. The world watched as peace returned for now. Weeks later, Ravi returned to the museum. He walked slowly past the glass case where his jacket rested. Children laughed and pointed. Their eyes shone with wonder. One little boy tugged on Ravi's sleeve. Did you really give your jacket? The boy asked. Ravi knelt down and smiled. Yes, and it was the best thing I ever did. The boy smiled wide. Maybe I can help someone too, Ravi nodded. That's how we change the world. One kind act at a time. That night, Ravi and Myra stood together once more on the rooftop. The stars were bright. This is only the beginning, Myra said. Ravi smiled. Then let's keep going, together. They looked up, hopeful that the future was waiting.